All right guys, welcome to Hollywood Mechanic. Today we're talking about the used car trifecta, the 3 things you really want to look for: no accidents, single owner, dealer service, why that is so important. You hear everyone say these 3 things. Is the car been single owner, been serviced to the dealer, and have there been no accidents? And if you buy a car like that, then you've got a pretty safe bet or a safe investment. And it really is true. It makes a really big difference. If you can see not one of these things, not 2 of these things, but if you find a car with all 3 of these things, you're going to have a car that is much easier to maintain than one that doesn't have all 3 of these things. Now, why is that? Well, obviously, if you have one owner, then you only have one person's habits you're trying to figure out in owning the car. I mean, let's just be honest, people don't change. They say they're gonna change, but it's so rare. It's so rare that when you see someone who genuinely has changed, people are shocked, like, whoa, bro, you really got into the fitness thing, that's crazy. Whatever it is, it's the same with owning a car. If you see someone who leaves trash in their car, well then guess what? You just don't care about their car as much. If that oil light comes on, they might ignore it for a little while, and that makes a big difference, especially with cars that have 15,000 mile oil intervals. It's already too far. So if you see one owner, you only have one person's pattern of life to try to figure out. And if they took care of the car, then you know they were careful with who they let drive it. They were careful not to like ram over speed bumps or potholes, and they kind of took care of the car. And that goes right into the next thing, dealer service. Micah, you talked so much on the dealer. Do you want a car serviced by the dealer? And again, the cost of servicing your car at a dealer is sometimes double what it costs to do it at an independent shop. And that means if someone was willing to pay that price, then guess what? They probably cared about their car a lot. They paid an exorbitant amount of money to make sure that it was taken care of by the dealership. Another reason that's important is that when it comes to diagnosing complex problems, the dealer techs typically struggle in that. But when it comes to maintenance items, when you're seeing the same car all day, every day, you get very comfortable with changing the oil, making sure that you don't break anything. When you change the oil on a car, you're supposed to do an oil startup procedure, which is cranking the car without it firing to build up the oil pressure before the loads of the piston and the combustion get put onto the pistons and the rods and the crank. And that's something that an independent shop a lot of times doesn't do, or doesn't have the computer to initiate that startup procedure. So going to the dealer for service, it just, again, shows the car has been well taken care of. And the last thing, no accidents. This one's tricky because especially with supercars, people know how much an accident affects the value. If it's in an accident, a lot of times they won't report it. So you need to have a pre-purchase inspection to verify that there are no accidents. And a good way to do that is have an alignment. Make sure that the car aligns true to the factory specs, because control arm, they're curved and bent, and you won't be able to tell with your eye if a control arm is slightly tweaked. But you do need to have a pre-purchase inspection. And the reason that this is important is when a car goes to a body shop, it's one of the most hostile environments a car can go in. It's a packed place with people who can't afford these cars, moving them around, porters that make literally minimum wage. While it's there, the shop can repair any damage that's been done to it without you knowing. Once you take body panels off, these body shops cut corners. They don't replace all the plastic pieces.
There's no bolt that can go in there. There's no threads in there. It's just 3D printed piece in there.
For all the hoses, they may just cut the hose, put a joining piece in there with some screw clamps on either end to avoid the labor of going in and doing the repair properly. Again, not replace plastic air ducts or wire stays, and that will lead to problems down the line. Another thing is, if you have the car painted in a state like California, California paints must be water-based, so they do not last as long as factory paint. I have a Mercedes C-Class that I bought, and had some slight damage. All the paint that's factory is lasted the 9 years, no peeling, no cracks, no nothing. The paint that was done here in California, it was 4 years ago, and already I'm getting clear coat peeling off of it. If you're trying to buy a car, obviously one day you're gonna sell it, and if you've got paint issues, it's gonna hurt your resale value. Also, wires that are left loose will eventually vibrate and cause damage, and then you're chasing electrical problems, which are extremely expensive. Not having any accidents is extremely important, and it's something that goes beyond pulling a Carfax. You really need to have an inspection done. I mean, if the car has been in an accident and it's a supercar, owners know. They would rather pay for some shoddy repair out of pocket and resell it as a no accident vehicle, because they know if they file an insurance claim, insurance is only gonna pay a small portion of what they will lose on that resale value. All right guys, so that's been our video on those 3 things. Again, finding a car with one owner but still an accident, or finding a car with one owner but not dealer service, you're not gonna get the same. If you find a car with all 3 of those things, you're gonna have a really good car that probably is going to be a lot easier to own and a lot more valuable when you go to resell it.